Hello and welcome back to the Second and Two podcast. I'm your host, TB. Got my co-host, producer extraordinaire, connoisseur of hoodies, Rams, fan. They say we don't exist, but this guy, he's at games. All right.
Hey, that's true.
Jody. What's up, Joe?
I will say I do tell everyone that I meet I am a bandwagon fan. I was there before the Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong. But my fandom was with the Broncos for the longest. So if anyone ever asks, I always say it's kind of complicated. I grew up a
It's mostly
Broncos
because they
fan.
came to LA, though, right? Not
That
because they
too.
were necessarily good. It's just
Yeah.
like they came to LA and then it was like,
Johnny
I
had
got
the
like a team now.
tickets, and I went to a bunch of games, and
So then it
the
just kind of
ball
works
keeps
out.
rolling, and now here we are. We got the banner right there. Come on now.
Uh-huh,
We were there.
We were there. Yeah, dude. We're the Rams fandom. We're happy to have you. Happy to have you. Welcome. And let me be
you're
the first
one of
Rams fan.
two people I knew before anything that was always a Rams fan.
Always been a Rams fan, man. Juiced up. We do exist, people. We do exist.
That's true.
So let's dive into it. We got a freaking awesome week ahead this week in the NFL. We're gonna roll through the standings right now, so we kind of know where things are rolling, and this will help give context to some of these games we're gonna go through in a bit.
True.
Jody, start us off with the NFC. Where do things stand in the NFC?
So in first place, Chicago Bears. They sniped the Rams after that loss to the Panthers last week. So one, we got the Bears at 9-3. Number two, we got the Rams at 9-3. Eagles 8-4. They're close behind, but they've had some tough waters recently.
Yep.
Buccaneers sit at 7-5. Injuries, so I don't know how long they'll do it, but they're still kicking along in the positive zone, so that's impressive to watch. And then in the wild card standings, as the moment, we got the Seahawks 9-3. Crazy. In order to make the playoffs over here, you probably have to be like 10 wins. Packers sitting at 8-3-1 at the 6th spot with that tie to the Cowboys a while back. And then in the 7th spot, another NFC West team, we got the Niners at 9-4.
What we got some teams in the hunt there?
Oh yeah, we do. My bad. I'd let those slide. The outside looking in people. We got the Lions at 7-5 playing tonight. Cowboys 6-5-1, I believe, are also playing them tonight. And then the Panthers 7-6 fighting for that divisional spot for the Bucks, or with the Bucks, I should say.
So and just so people know, and they come to listen to this, the Lions Cowboys game is happening tonight. We're recording on Thursday. We're going to talk about that game. By the time people hear this, it'll have already happened. So we'll find out, if we were any good on predictions and things like that when we talk about it. But big time game tonight. That's a theme of this week. Like I said, we're going to go through that and pretty excited. Jody, when you look at the NFC right now, I mean, what's the thing that surprises you most about the standings where we sit going into week 14?
Well, very simply put, NFC West seems like a juggernaut. Everyone's got 9 wins. It's going to be like the NFC North last year. And then the Bears being 9-3, sniping everyone in their way.
I think that's the thing, is the Bears being the 1 seed, right? Now, I don't think a lot of people saw that one coming.
Johnson moves the needle.
I would say we got to give a lot of credit here to the Panthers. The Panthers, they're not in the playoffs right now, but they're just in the hunt in week 14, winning record 7-6.
Yeah.
A lot of credit to that staff and that group of players. I mean, they were one of the worst teams in the league last year, and now they're a team that's fighting for a playoff spot, going into week 14. They're going to be there probably through the end at this point.
I think they had the Bucks twice too going forward.
They do, so they can win that division.
Literally fighting for that division.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. You look at the standings and you're like, oh, which teams, the Panthers and Cowboys, they feel so far back from the 49ers, and that's what you're looking at. But then you look at their divisions and you're like, the Panthers are only a half game back of the Bucs, and they
Yeah.
play them twice. The Cowboys are, a game and a half back of the Eagles. They've already played them there 2 times, right? They're
Mhm.
1-1 against them. So they're going to need some help down the stretch here. But we do know, and it looked for a long time this year that this was going to finally be broken. But for like 20 something years, a
There's
different
still a
team has
fighting
won the
chance.
NFC East every year. And it looked like the Eagles were running away with it, just as short as like 4 weeks ago. It felt like,
Yeah.
okay, the Eagles are going to finally break that streak. I mean, the Cowboys might catch them. You never know. So, yeah, I think those are some of the more surprising things. Definitely credit where credit is due there. What about the AFC? Where are we looking at there?
AFC, we got the Patriots sitting in first at 11-2. Guess they haven't had their bye week yet. That's what that means. It's this week.
Mhm.
Broncos sitting at second spot with 10-2. We have the Jaguars 8-4. Let's see. The fourth spot, we get the Ravens 6-6. That's another division that looks like it'd still be up for grabs. Chargers sitting at 8-4 for the first wild card spot. Another looks like it's got to be at least 9 wins to get in as well over here for the AFC. Colts sitting at 8-4, lost their division recently. See what happens going forward with them. And then the Bills sitting at 8-4 at the 7th spot. People outside looking in, it's a lot tighter than it is with the NFC though. We got Texans sitting at 7-5, Steelers 6-6, and the Chiefs 6-6. Chiefs still being in that lingering is kind of crazy because they got to get the wild
Yeah,
card.
yeah.
Steelers can fight for their division with the Ravens, and then Texans, I believe, is the same case, right, with the Jaguars. Am I not mistaken?
Yeah, yeah. The Texans, Jags, and Colts. It's going to come down to the end in that AFC South.
Yeah,
The Steelers, Ravens, and the one team we didn't kind of mention that's not really there right now, but they're kind of there is the Bengals. Um,
Burrowhead.
they're 2 games back of the Ravens and Steelers, so they're still in it with games against both of them still to play. Obviously, the Ravens and the Steelers play each other twice down the stretch here. So yeah, a lot of fun divisional matchups, a lot of things coming down to the wire here. The
Mm-hmm.
NFL is looking at a great last 5 weeks of the season right now. I would say you look at these two, we said there's 10 teams alive in both conferences. If you include the Bengals with the AFC North still kind of up for grabs, they're 2 games back, you might include them. So let's say 11 in the AFC, 10 in the NFC. There's still 21 teams in the NFL that are fighting for playoff positioning here and
21.
to get in. Lot of good games. I mean, let's before we get into the slate this week, anything in the AFC that's really standing out to you that's a surprise?
Like I said, I think the Chiefs is probably the most shocking to everyone. No one probably could have predicted that. And then Bills, not well. The Patriots being 11-2. Rabel came in, turned that around,
If
and
you
then the
remember,
Bills slipping right now.
if you remember in the offseason, the last pod we did before we kind of came back here in the fall, uh, I said the Patriots are going to go 11-6 and be a playoff team. I was wrong because they're better than that, but I was on the bandwagon there, the Vrabel Drake May bandwagon.
Yeah,
I was on early. That was July, and I was like, they're a playoff team. So just want that for the record. I want everyone to give me my props on that.
yeah.
Um,
That was me with
but
the
truthfully,
Chargers. I said
the,
the Chargers were
the
gonna win like 13 or something crazy, 14.
no, you said they were going to win like 16 games. I remember that they had like one loss in your
No, I think they
projection,
had. I think they
but
legit had 3. I think I had them at 14 games, which that's not gonna happen. They have 4 losses now, but I did think they were gonna be
um,
good.
I and funny enough, like again, you know, I probably didn't go as far as I should have with the Patriots, but you just kind of like 11-6, they'll have a good year. I
Yeah, yeah,
really thought again the model for that was what the Commanders had done the year before. Felt like that's what the Patriots could be this year,
makes
and
sense.
and so far to a certain extent they have been. Truthfully for me, the team that I am most surprised about, they got a lot of hype in the offseason. I just wasn't sure if I was buying it, and that was the Broncos. The Broncos sitting at 10-2, winning that division. That the division's good with the Chiefs and the
Mhm.
Chargers. I really thought the Raiders would be better than they are, and they're obviously kind of still pretty
I heard
bad, just
people
to put it
calling
bluntly.
for Pete Carroll's head already after a year.
I think you got to give him at least one more year. But the Chip Kelly thing does look bad.
Mhm.
The fact that they hired him, they fired him, and then a lot of it came out that he wasn't really running his offense, and that they made him the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. A lot of stuff there that just doesn't make sense. If you're going to bring him in, pay him that kind of money, why isn't he running his offense if that's the case? So there are some things there that make it seem not great, but I'm not ready to fire Pete Carroll yet. On the flip side, I'm also not ready to give up on the Chiefs yet. We talked about this in the last episode. So, with all that being said, excited to get to this week's slate. All right. This week 14, and this is not hyperbolic. This week 14 could be the greatest slate we've seen in the NFL in a couple years, I would say. This late in the year, you've got all three primetime games are elite matchups, multiple games in multiple windows on Sunday that are going to be awesome. So we're starting with tonight, the Cowboys at the Lions. I'll tell you, that Thursday night football game tonight, that's an elimination game. Yeah, I mean, it really does feel like that. Exactly, it's a true playoff game. If you're the Lions and you lose and you go to 7-6, at that point, you're probably going to have to win your last 4 games. You're going to have to win out to get in, and that's going to be really hard with the schedule that they have left, right? If you're the Cowboys, we talked about their schedule and how difficult it's going to be for them to get in. They can't fall to 6-1. Both these teams with a loss go to 6 losses, and then it pretty much means you got to win out at that point to have
just
a shot.
For a chance.
So,
yeah.
And it feels like, for both of them, this is a big time game. It's a must win. So you've got that game, right? We've got Bengals at Bills, right? That's probably an elimination game for the Bengals. We said the Bengals got to win out to have a chance at the division. If they lose that game, it guarantees them a losing record at that point. And I don't know if the AFC North is not great, but I think the winner of the AFC North is going to be 9-8. So I think if they lose this one and they're at 4-9, it probably knocks them out. Right?
Is that Tomlin? You think Tomlin can do it?
Does it every other year of his career. So if you're the Bills, a lot of playoff seeding and things like that on the line for them as well. They're not like a lock to be in the playoffs right now by any means, so they need to keep winning as well. The Colts at the Jaguars, right? That's for the divisional lead. They're both 8-4. Whoever wins that game probably has the inside track on winning the division with 4 weeks to go. So that's a big time game. That's the right to host a playoff game, right?
True.
Huge deal there. Steelers at Ravens. We just kind of talked about the Bengals. Dude, Steelers at Ravens. The winner, similar deal with the Colts and the Jaguars, except that with Colts Jaguars, you kind of feel like, the winner of that game inside track in the division, but the loser isn't necessarily out. You know what I mean? They're probably still in a decent spot for the wild card. Steelers Ravens. One of those teams is going to win the division. One of them is going to miss the playoffs. Reality, right? Yeah. So that's a huge game. They play 2 times down the stretch. This one, again, probably gives that team, whoever wins it, the inside track there. Bears at Packers, right? For the divisional lead and probably the NFC's 1 or 2 seed potentially down the stretch here.
That's for sure.
Big game. Texans at Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. Another, what I would call an elimination game. Yep. That's another game of 2 teams, just like in the NFC. That's 2 teams just on the outside looking in who feel like, man, if they get that, if you're the Texans, you get that 6th loss, you're going to really feel like you got to win out. If you're the Chiefs and you get the 7th loss, that might eliminate you. You might be done. We talked about this last weekend, right? We said we kind of feel like the Chiefs got to win out to make the playoffs. So this is a huge game. And then last but not least, the Monday Night Football game. Eagles at Chargers. 2 8-4 teams going in different directions here. Chargers coming off 2 wins. Eagles coming off 2 losses, right? 2 teams fighting for not only the playoffs, but positioning in the playoffs. Huge game. So that's 7 playoff games, right? 7 playoff feel type games that feature teams that are alive for the playoffs, fighting for seeding, fighting to get in. You can't ask for anything better. 7 games, 3 of them at the actual primetime games, 4 of them during the Sunday slate. That's just awesome, right? And so the plan today, we're going to go through each one of those games, give you some things to look for when you're watching, give you some, if you're a betting man, give you some money to lay down, right, on some bets, and ultimately predict each of the outcomes of those games. All right, so Jody, without further ado, take us away. What's the first game we're going to look at?
So the first one is the game tonight, Cowboys at Lions. I mean, Prime Video's got it rolling here shortly as we're
On
recording.
video. Jody, you got some bets you like in this game?
Yeah, so I'm rolling with CD Lamb to have his longest reception over 26.5. These lines all come from Prize Picks for the prop bets I chose. And then if you want to look at the actual spread money line over under stuff, I did Cowboys at 3 plus 3.5, and then you could even take the under at 55 for this game is what I'm thinking.
Okay. Of all the things you said so far, I like CD to have a big play. Yep. Longest reception over 26.5. And then I think the under 55 is not a
It
bad
could go
bet. I think
bad.
it's gonna be right at that
Yeah.
line. When we talk about keys to the game here, here's the deal. Can the Lions play keep away? Can they run the football and just play keep away? Because this Cowboys offense, we talked about it last week, they're humming. No one's stopping them right now. Dak and CD and
Slinging.
Pickens have been unbelievable. Even the running game has been okay for them, right? They've just been very productive on offense, and they're finally giving them a little something on defense where they can get rolling. I believe they've won
Mhm.
3 in a row now to get to this point, right? Um, so can the Lions, if you're the Lions, right, you rank second in the league in average yards per carry at 5.0. You average 138.1 yards rushing per game. That's fourth in the league. And you're going against a Dallas defense that ranks 20th in the league in rushing defense. They're giving up 124.7 yards per game. However, they are only allowing 69.7 yards per game over the last 3 games. Now, that's in part to two things, right? Number one, hey, they got Quinnen Williams, they got Logan Wilson,
Mhm.
they've kind of
Beefed
upgraded
up
and
the
beefed
front
up their
seven.
defense. They're playing better, right? Number two, they've been playing with the lead a lot because that offense is
Yeah,
growing,
true.
right? So teams aren't able to
Continue
consistently
to
run the
run.
ball. I think Dan Campbell and Detroit will be stubborn that way tonight because they know they have to play a possessions game. They have to keep the ball away from Dak. And yes, they like their defense. They trust their defense, right? But what's the best thing you could do for a defense that you love? Hey, let's play keep away. Let's run the ball. We know we can run it for 5 yards a pop. And that's about what Dallas has given up. Well, let's go then, right? And so that's the game plan for Detroit. That makes the most sense. I think it's what Dan Campbell's whole aura and his deal is, right? That's biting kneecaps and being tougher than people and all that. So I feel like they go back to that identity tonight, and I think you see Detroit is able to run the ball, play keep away. And even though these two teams, Detroit's kind of feeling like they're falling this way, Dallas feels like they're going this way. I think this is going to be a really good game. And again, it comes down to will Detroit be able to kind of help their defense out on offense? As far as the final score prediction goes here, I've got the Cowboys 24, Lions 31. I've got the Lions being able to be heavily productive on offense. Like I said, running that football. I don't know if I believe in this Cowboys resurgence on defense. I think they are definitely
Oh.
better. I don't know if they're good enough to go to Detroit and win this game when Detroit knows they got to win. So I'm keeping the Lions by 7. Hence why I don't know if I love Cowboys plus 3.5. Hence, and my number's right at
Yeah,
55.
I saw that when I looked. I
So
was like, "Oh."
it's close. I think it could go under, but what say you, Jody?
I had the Cowboys at 27, Lions 20. I was kind of just basing it off of Amon-Ra still being hurt. I guess he's playing tonight, I think. Is what I seen.
He's
And so
playing, but
we'll
he's
see
gonna
how
be
that goes.
limited, I think.
Yeah, gotta be. But I
Is
mean, I'm not
is
that's
Pickens
not
is Pickens
discredited.
playing?
I
There
believe
was
so.
a
I don't
little bit
know.
of talk of here, I'll look that up while you're
Is
talking. Go
they trying
ahead.
to bench him for the first quarter or something?
No, I believe he was hurting.
Oh, no, I didn't
Um,
see that. So that's we'll see. I was gonna say though, not to just discredit Jameson Williams, but like if they don't have a Monrod, they got plenty more options to take care of everyone else. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I was
mhm.
leaning on this one.
Well, let's see. Last I
If you guys want a
saw,
bonus bet, I did take George Pickens, basically the same prop as a CD. His was 27.5 though. If you guys want another extra bonus bet, I did that one as
mm,
well.
mm, um, He's got a knee and a calf injury, but looks like he's gonna play. So take for that for what you will. Next game, what do we got, Jody?
Next one on the list, we got that Bengals at Bills game.
Ooh,
I
good
did
one.
hear some things about this game about to be cold and snowy, which, kind of made me sad after hearing about that. But no, I still chose what I chose. I have the best bet in this game being Chase Brown over 70.5 rushing and receiving yards. I guess that depends on where you look because I did these same ones on Underdog and they had it at 77.5. So
Okay.
take that as you will. For the
Do you
typical,
do you still like the over there at 77 and a
yeah,
half?
oh yeah. I think
Oh yeah,
he's
he likes it. He
averaging
likes
at
it.
least like 90. He's similar to
Okay.
he's like a watered down Christian McCaffrey in terms of those numbers, which
There
is
you
still
hear
good,
it, folks.
productive.
Watered down Christian McCaffrey is Chase Brown.
In terms of the typical sports books, I went with the Bengals plus 5.5 on this game.
Okay. So in terms of this game, I think the big key to the game is, can the Bills defense hold up? Right? That's been the question
True.
all year. It's been their biggest weakness. Um, when Joe Burrow plays, the Bengals have one of the most prolific passing attacks in the league. Right? First game back last week, threw for 261, 2 tutties. Right? And meanwhile, the Bills have resolved some of their early season secondary issues, and they're now top 5 in opponent completion percentage and opponent passing yards per game. So sneakily, the Bills secondary has kind of figured some things out, and they're playing better there. Will they hold up against Burrow, though? Right? I think you look at this as a great duel of two fantastic quarterbacks. We know the Bengals defense is some would say generationally awful. They are historically bad.
Yeah, that's for
They
sure.
played much better last week against the Ravens. We know the Ravens offense is struggling, right? We'll get to them in a little bit here. But I think, the weather being what it is, if it snows, this could severely impact the predictions here. But I've got Bengals 33, Bills 30. I just something about Joe Burrow in December that I don't want to see if I'm another team. And
Especially after
even with the
last week.
Bills, yeah, and even with the Bills looking good last week, man, I would not want to be them having to play Joe Burrow this week, even though it's in Buffalo. All those things, the snow, Buffalo, all of it says the Bills should win, but I'm going with Joe Burr in Buffalo, 33-30.
I am also rolling with the Bengals this week. I don't have it nearly as high, which is crazy because I didn't hear about the weather till later in the day, and I did this last night. But I have 21 Bengals, Bills 17 for this game.
Okay. And what do we got next?
Next up, we have the Colts at Jaguars. This game, I had a tough time picking the prop bet, I'm going to be honest. There was a couple I was like, this might work, this might not. But ultimately, I went with Jonathan Taylor over 1.5 receptions in the game. The Jags D has been picking it up a little bit over time, which is, I think part with their success coming recently. So I like that. And then for the sports books, I went with the Jags money line in this game. I think they're pulling it off.
Do you have what are the odds on that Jags money line?
I believe it was like 1 something. It was very close, I believe, for this game. Let me double check.
I figured it would be. I was just curious. All right, so key to the game here, when you look at these two teams statistically, it's turnovers. All right. Now, turnovers being a key to a game generally is kind of a cop out, truthfully. My least favorite thing when when the announcers pregame are doing the keys to the game, they're like takeaways. Someone's got to win the takeaway battle, right? It's kind of like, and always, yeah, right? Teams that win takeaway battle
Scored more
generally
points
win
than
the
the other
game.
team.
Yeah, it's like, okay, sure. But in this case, I'll tell you why this one is actually important. The Jaguars and the Colts both rank inside the top 7 in turnover margin this year, meaning they are creating more takeaways than they are giving the ball away
Yeah.
week in and week out consistently, right? And so Jacksonville this year, they're 3-0 when they win the turnover margin outright in a game, right? They're actually still relatively okay record-wise when they lose the turnover margin. And then when it's tied, it's kind of either or, right? But when they've won the turnover margin in a game, they haven't lost a game this year, right? Indianapolis on the other side,
Take
they're
advantage of the
five and
opportunities.
one. They're 5-1 when they win the turnover margin, right? So these
That's
two
crazy.
teams combined 8-1 when they win the takeaway battle. That data tells you, okay, whoever wins takeaways really will win this game. Okay. Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, they have combined for 18 interceptions this year. Those two dudes, two of the quarterbacks in the league that do like to give it away. Okay.
Give
Um,
it away
the
now.
the odds that there will be a game-changing interception in this game is pretty high. Historically, the Colts don't play well in Jacksonville, right? It's like they haven't won there, and I don't know how many. Their record there in the last 20 years is
It's got to
not
be
good.
too hot or something, then, huh?
No, well, but that's the funny part. Even in December, they don't play well there. Remember there was a couple years ago when the Colts had Wentz, right, and all they had to do was go to
Go win.
Jacksonville and win
Yeah.
to be in, and Jacksonville was like awful, and
Yeah.
they lost even in that situation, right? So,
Remember.
they just for whatever reason, it's just a thing for the Colts. They don't play well in Jacksonville, and the Jaguars this year they've been a lead at home. They're 4-1, winning by almost an average of 2 touchdowns in all their home
Dang.
games. So they have been awesome at home. That tells me, right, that I also think in some ways the Colts are more reliant. Their defense is more reliant on creating turnovers than Jacksonville is. Jacksonville's a
Yeah.
little bit more
That's
consistent on
fair.
defense. So I like the Jags in this game. I like it to be not a low scoring, but not a high scoring game, kind of in the middle here. I like it to be really close down to the end, one possession. I've got Jaguars 27, Colts 21. I think, Jaguars money line, not a bad bet. If you want to try and go, I assume the Jags are favored, so maybe not a bad idea. No, the Colts are favored.
Yeah, 2 points. And
Oh
then
man, then I love the Jags with +2.
yeah, it was plus 110 for that money line bet on the Jags. They
I'm
sit at plus
surprised that
2 on this game.
The Colts are favored. So really, and it's in Jacksonville. So they're
They
saying the
really like
Colts
the
are
Colts.
anywhere from a 3.5 to 4.5 points better than the Jags. I mean, because home field advantage now. I've seen people say different things. It's like either 1.5 to 2.5 points. Home
Yeah.
field is what they account for now. Which, yeah, again, that's surprising that they have the. I don't know. I don't know if I see the Colts as a team that's 3.5 to 4.5 points better than Jags. I think it should be closer to a pick 'em. But
That's what I thought it would be, like 1.5. But
yeah,
here we are. My
who do
prediction
you
for
have?
this game was the Colts 14, Jaguars 17. I think it's going to be pretty scrappy. I guess that kind of ties in with your turnovers too. If no one's getting the ball downfield, it's going to be kind of just stuck somewhere in the middle. I will say bonus bet after your spiel, we could get Daniel Jones to throw a pick. Why not add that on there?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. What are the odds on that? They've got
That
to be
I
minus. They've got to be minus odds.
Let's see. Let's take a gander real quick since I got Bovada open.
This is the content people come here for. Live deciding Daniel Jones interception. And are they minus odds? Because they have to be.
They are. Well, they both are. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of. But over half a interception is minus 105. It's a lot closer
And
to even than it is
that's
for the
about what I
under.
would say. It's about even, but it's still minus. Yes. I would have guessed anywhere from minus 105 to minus 120. Trevor
The Trevor
Lawrence, do they have
Lawrence
that
ones is
too?
even farther. Yeah, it's at minus
Yeah.
145 compared to the
He's
under being
thrown
plus 110.
he's thrown more picks this year, so that checks out. All right. So let's go to the next game. What do we got here?
Next game we are looking at is the Steelers at the Ravens. Another classic divisional matchup we had talked about earlier. We
Oof.
got where's my bet? There it is. We have for this game I went with Aaron Rodgers under 196.5. I believe he's been hurt for 3 games, or this will be the third or
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
He hasn't gone over. I
Guy
think
looks like he got beat up in a bar fight. I mean, geez, Louise, he's getting his tail kicked.
I think the last 2 or 3 games he's been under that number, even going since that injury. So I think this one sits pretty well. And then for the game in the sports books, I went under 42.5.
All right. Key to the game here is, I mean, just it's a very basic question, but which offense can generate like basically anything? Watching both of these teams play the last couple weeks feels like both their offenses are just stuck in the mud.
I was gonna say it's
Um,
stagnant.
Both quarterbacks are historically great players, but they're not playing great. The weapons around them aren't helping them either. The play calling has felt predictable. It's just, I mean, both these teams feel weirdly in the same spot. Now, if you're the Ravens, it kind of feels a little different, I think, because you were 1-5. Now you're 6-6. That means you've gone 5-1. If you're the Steelers, it's like, man, I think they were 4-1, and so they've gone somewhere
Yeah, they
along the lines of
started
like
hot.
2-5. And
Yeah.
so you could say they're moving in opposite directions, but after watching both of them last week, they both lost last week, and I just don't feel great about either one. Um, I think you look at the data. The Steelers are averaging 23 points per game in their last 3 contests. The Ravens are averaging 20 points per game in that same span. That would both put them in the bottom third if that was their season averages. The defenses have kept them in it for the most part, but neither team seems to have any like long-term traction, things that you feel
Yeah.
excited about moving forward. So I expect
They're
this to
just
be a
getting
chess
by.
match from yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be a chess match between two veteran coaches, two guys that, by the way, people are their own fan bases are
Calling for their
um,
heads.
calling for their head. Yeah, it feels like, I mean, these guys have been stalwarts, right, in the NFL. These are the
Yeah.
two longest tenured head coaches in the NFL, and it feels like their own fan bases are turning on them. Really interesting to see kind of Tomlin and Harbaugh in this similar spot here. Um, I think it'll come down to the last possession, right? I think it really could turn into like which team's kicker is better on Sunday.
That's funny.
Um,
That's where my prediction comes in.
and so I don't feel good about it. I mean, if I was someone who was betting on this game, I just don't know that I would put any money on this game in terms of money line or the spread because it's just maybe depending. We had the 42.5. I feel good about the under on that. I don't feel good about who's going to win this game.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
ultimately went, and I feel like I may end up regretting this, but I ultimately went Steelers 14, Ravens
Rogers.
13. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of felt like, hey, maybe the Steelers will grind one out. Maybe
Yeah.
Tomlin's got one in him
TJ Watt
right
scores a
now.
touchdown and they figure it out.
Something like that. And so, yeah, I've got the Steelers 14, Ravens 13.
So this one, you talked about it coming down to the kickers. It's funny you say that because I actually predicted Steelers are to only get field goals for this game. I got them at 12, Ravens 17.
See, I thought it was a field goal, a safety, and a touchdown.
All the weird points possible. No, I got them
Yes.
kicking 4 field goals. Just why I don't know. It just feels like that's the way it's gonna go.
These AFC North games are always just a bloodbath, and that's
Yeah,
exactly what I'm expecting here. That's the one thing I can be sure of. It's going to be physical. It's going to be
definitely.
tough to watch. It's going to be cold. It's going to be just a grinder, and whoever wins will feel pretty good about themselves coming out of it.
Yeah, that's for sure. The next game we are taking a look at here, we have the Bears at Packers. This is one that's going to be crazy to see for sure. Because the
Mm-hmm.
Bears, if they could beat the Packers, that's a big statement. If the Packers beat the Bears, and it's like, all right, everyone, hold your horses on the Bears. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's see. That my bet for this game, I got Caleb Williams over 30.5 passing attempts. And for the sports books, I'm looking at the Bears +7. I think they keep it somewhat close. A full touchdown seems like that's very doable for them.
Okay. I've actually got the key to the game being third down here. Third down, right?
They're nah.
Two of the most efficient third down offenses in the league. They rank third and fourth, respectively, in average third downs converted per game. 6.2 for Green Bay, 6.0 for Chicago. So they're both converting 6+ third downs per game. The Packers convert third down at a 49% clip, almost 50-50. That's
Dang.
the best in the league. and the Bears convert at a 44% rate. That's 6th in the league, right? So these are two of the best third down offenses in the league. And what's funny is they're good at third down, both for very different reasons. When you look at the Packers, their stuff is just Jordan Love finds the matchup he likes. They have a bunch of guys.
I was gonna say
finds the matchup he likes, and
like third down.
and you see him, you see him just doing one of the 1 foot, just throw it up, right? He's leaned way back, and you're like, what is he doing? And then, oh my gosh, they converted
Christian
it.
Watson,
Oh my gosh,
30-yard reception. Like, oh
yeah, and you're like, wow, that's awesome, right? And then the Bears, it's like, oh, what did Ben Johnson scheme up to get Caleb Williams an open player, or what did Caleb Williams miss so that he could run around for 10 seconds and find somebody and still make the play, right? And just unbelievable. But in terms of third down defense, both teams rank near the middle of the league, so neither one of them is not either awful or elite at stopping third downs. So it really comes down to, it feels like the offenses will have advantage on third down, and which one converts more is likely to win the game more, right? Which one converts and keeps their team on the field, that's going to be the team that wins this game. In the big moments right now, I still just trust Jordan Love a little bit more than Caleb Williams. Also, I know that the Packers got that dude, Micah Parsons, on the other side, pass rushing, right? And if Caleb plays with fire too much, Micah Parsons is going to burn him, okay? So I do feel like small advantage to the Packers. I feel better about the Packers at this moment than I do the Bears, even though
got similar weather up there too. So
even though the Bears are sitting in the first seed right now. Now, the other thing is, it is at Lambeau. The Packers generally win at Lambeau, right? So I've got, it's funny enough because we actually ended up with the same prediction here.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just let them know what we got.
Bears 24, Packers 31. Jody and I see this one the same way. Feel like the Packers, I think are going to be extra efficient on offense. They're going to have one of those days. Feels a lot like maybe the game we just watched on Thanksgiving against the Lions. I think we see a similar kind of script play out here. The Bears keep it close enough, but actually push on your +7. And so we'll see what happens there.
Next game we are taking a look at is that Texans at Chiefs. This game, I bet I had Rashee Rice, so I took a fantasy prop on this one. His line was at 15. I feel like this dude, not only does he... Huh?
PPR?
Yeah, I believe so. Okay. So, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like, my guy, I think he's getting, like, at least, like, 8 targets a game. He's been getting a touchdown here and there. And the yards just kind of go nutty. I think he's been getting over, like, 60 easy every game, too. So, it's like, my guy just needs a couple passes and a touchdown. It's like, all right, easy money. You know what I mean? Yeah. For the sports books, I went with the Texans +3, or if you want to flirt with it, you could take the under at 41.5.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's funny. I look at my predictions every time you say these things, and I'm like right there on both of those. Technically, I would take the Chiefs at -3 and just over the 41.5. But as far as key to the game here, can the Chiefs O-line hold up against what I would describe as phenomenal and debilitating Texans pass rush, right? They do things and they make things happen for their defense like no other pass rush in the league is doing right now. They're both 6th in sack percentage and sacks per game. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson each rank in the top 6 individually in sacks this season at 11 and 10.5. So just from those two guys alone, they've got 21.5 sacks. With the Chiefs dealing with injuries along the offensive line, I think this could be a major mismatch in this game and be a huge factor in determining the outcome. Still, I ask myself, am I really going to go against Patrick Mahomes in a must-win game for the Chiefs? Because truthfully, this has a similar feel to when the Colts went there a couple weeks ago and the Chiefs looked outmatched and they just grinded it out and found a way to win. I really kind of think it's just a similar game here. That's why I ended up going Chiefs 23, Texans 19. A very similar kind of game. I could see it going to overtime. I could see it being a game-winning field goal at the end of the game. I could see it being Mahomes has the ball in his hands and it's oh my gosh, he just made what play. I'm just telling you, I think the guy's going to grind it out because they got to have it. And I think he goes into, there's moments in every athlete's career, the great ones anyway, where we see a guy rise to the occasion and be great. And time and again, Patrick Mahomes has proven that. And so his back is now against the wall, like sufficiently to the point if they lose this game, they are out.
They're probably done.
So he has to win it. So I'm not picking against that dude in that situation.
All right. I mean, that's fair. I will say off of that judgment, I probably would take his rushing line. Don't know what's that, but that's what you see when Patty Mahomes backs against the wall. He's always taking off, running for big yards.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'd go take a gander if you agree with Trevor. My prediction on this game, though, I'm putting the stake in the Chiefs. We got the Texans 21, Chiefs 17. We're ending the era, at least for the time being. I think the Texans. It comes back to what you said about the defense. I didn't know their O-line was banged up for the Chiefs, but I think that front line gonna get too much. Too much pressure up on that boy Patty Mahomes, and it's gonna keep them at bay, and it's gonna be, like you said, pretty tough for them to pull it off in my eyes.
And we should mention that game is the Sunday Night Football game. What an unbelievable slate of prime times this week. Great game. All right, so the Monday night game then is Eagles-Chargers. Last game of the week, also a phenomenal football game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my prop bet for this one, I rolled with Jake Elliott under 6.5 kicking points. I think the Eagles offense is all over the place. You see AJ Brown balling. Sometimes you see him not do anything. Saquon's been, not nearly as good as he was last year. I'm rolling with their kicker under his 6.5 kicking points because that seems like the most easy thing I could pick for this game.
Yeah.
Because I think the Chargers are also similar on offense. They're like, some weeks they're balling, some weeks they're not. I don't know. I don't trust any of the people over there either. And then for the sports book bet, this one's kind of weird. I went with the Eagles total points over 21.5. Like I said, I don't know where I trust any of those things because they sit for this game 2.5 for the spread, Eagles favored, and then 41.5 for the over under. So I could see this game playing out a bunch of ways. I just rolled with that because I was like, I think they could score 22 points.
I think, I had a really tough time with the Ravens-Steelers game, but I think of all the games this week, this was the game I struggled with the most, right? Because
I agree.
The vibes in Philly are not good right now. They're just not. I don't trust that team right now. It's like one of those, like, gotta see it. On the flip side, how healthy is Justin Herbert, right? I mean, he only missed 10 snaps last week, but then he had surgery on his hand. They're talking about, hey, he's probably going to play. The Chargers have won their last 2 games while the Eagles have lost their last 2. Conventional wisdom would just tell you, hey, the Chargers should win this game, right? But if Justin Herbert isn't healthy, obviously that swings everything in Philly's favor. But the last 2 weeks, Philly should have beat the Bears and the Cowboys, and they didn't, right?
That's true.
The Chargers are super beat up as it is, and the Eagles need this win to stay out in front of the Cowboys in the division.
Yep.
The Chargers need this win to stay out in front of the Chiefs in the wild card, and as well as
Denver,
because they already have a win against Denver. You're right. Stay alive for the division, all that good stuff. So both these teams, they need it, right? Even though they're both 8-4, you feel like, I wouldn't call either one of them a lock to make the playoffs, but you feel like they should be in, both of them. By the same token, you're just looking at it, you're like, man, they both really need this game. I really struggled with it mightily. My bet ultimately came down to, I think Herbert's going to play. I think he's going to be healthy enough. And I think I trust the infrastructure of Harbaugh and Jesse Minter a little bit more than what's happening in Philly right now. I mean, it feels very clear that A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts don't like each other. I mean, that's just kind of like a lot of reporting. It makes it sound that way anyway. And you watch the game and you're like, they really don't get A.J. Brown the ball like they probably should. And but it's also like, this is a dream for Philly fans, man. They love the fact that their team is good still, but they have just enough to complain about. This also would feel like the kind of game that Philly just wins, and it's like, nah, they're fine, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
They just had
struggle
a
with it the
hiccup.
most. But I ultimately, again, I kind of with the Ravens Steelers thing. It's like I may come to regret this, but I went Eagles 24, Chargers 27. So I did take the Chargers here at home,
Mhm.
which is likely to not be an advantage for them. It's likely to be a bunch of black and green in those SoFi
The Kelly
stands.
Greens out there. It's funny
Yeah.
you mentioned that because I have yet to see the Eagles lose in SoFi, and apparently the two games I went to has also only been the times they've gone there. They haven't played the Chargers at SoFi, but they are 2-0 versus the Rams there. I have the Eagles winning 24, Chargers 17.
I don't think that is again, especially if Herbert isn't completely right, that's not a bad way to go there. So, like I said, I this game I had the least feel for. I felt the
Yeah.
least confident in the pick. I think it could be kind of an ugly, big plays is what scores on offense, but not a lot of sustained drives is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
what
that's
both of
fair.
these offense feel like right now. So you
Mhm.
see points, but it's not consistent. Especially again if Herbert is actually able to play. So we'll see what happens there. Kind of finishing up, we got to revisit. We talked about the game last week,
Yeah.
previewed it, went through all the keys and everything like that. And I will just say, credit where credit is due. Ohio State thoroughly dominated in those major areas.
Mhm.
Right at the start of the game, it looked like, hey,
Run the ball on
Michigan,
them.
the run game, they're going to be able
Yeah.
to do it. And then it looked like, hey, Wink is being creative. They forced the young quarterback into an interception. They didn't bring extra guys on that. They dropped and they were rushing with 4, right? As the game went, Ohio State's rushing attack dominated, right?
Mhm.
That was something we talked about. They were 59th in the country going into that game. They dominated. They had a drive that was like 18 plays, 11 minutes, and 16 of the plays were run plays. I mean, unbelievable football. Their defense in the second half shut the Michigan running game down. That Caleb Downs is an unbelievable football player because what he was doing in run fits, but then also, being able to reroute receivers, but still end up where he needed to be. Just he's so good. He should be a top 10 pick, no doubt. And then, what they were doing, Patricia, what he did on defense, Bryce Underwood, he didn't make mistakes. Like he didn't throw the critical interception. He threw one late in the game, but it was on 4th down. It was a ball that he probably, if he just takes some zip off, his receiver maybe catches it, but he put so much zip on it, the receiver didn't get his head around. Miscommunication. It wasn't like that Bryce Underwood interception cost them the game. But for the most part, what he didn't do, he didn't really let it rip. He had
Yeah,
one
that
great
too.
throw, but for the most part, I think their defense was getting after him and not allowing him to see the throws before they happened. So credit to Ohio State because they did all the keys of the game that we talked about. They showed up. They just showed up in Ohio State's favor for the most part, and they got a well-earned victory on the road there in the Big House. Now, as a Michigan fan, was I sad to see it? Of course. Sad to
Yeah.
see the streak end. But again, credit where credit is due. I will tell you, I think Ryan Day is one of the most impressive coaches in the country, considering what he had to go through last year after that game and to bounce back. And they haven't lost a game since that game
Yeah,
last year.
that's
So,
crazy too.
and I'll tell you this, just after watching it, I mean, for real, Ohio State is the team to beat this year in the college football
Mhm.
playoff. I don't know that there's a team. I think someone's going to have to catch Ohio State on a bad day, basically, in order for Ohio State to lose. I think if Ohio State plays their best football the rest of the season, they should win the national championship.
I will say, how did you feel about the whole after the game stuff where they didn't want to do nothing to the field or whatever, that whole little squabble?
Um, I will say this. As a Michigan fan, there's the Michigan part of me that loves that school and everything. That's like, cool, they're defending the M. Like you're not gonna
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
flag planted there. But then I also felt like such a loser because it's like, dude, we planted their flag last year after we beat them and said, we'll beat us. And then
Yeah.
you plant the flag and then they beat us. And then it's like, no, you're not going to. The whole thing is kind of silly. Truthfully, the whole thing is people made a bigger deal of it than it is. But truthfully, I'll be honest. There was some small part of me. It felt like a loser that I was excited they defended the block
Yeah.
M. They freaking lost. Like you lose, you kind
I
of
was gonna I
you
was
know
gonna say that's the other side of that where like yeah they defended the end, but if you cared so much about the end, why didn't you just go and beat them on the
just
field
go win
already?
the game. Go win the game. But no, I respect the players for saying you're not going to do it. It's
Yeah.
also like I said, it just feels a little. It's a little lame when you lose the game. It just
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
There's no other way to kind of say it. If you're being honest with yourself, right? I will say, Ryan Day and Sharon Moore got together and they were like, "Hey, we don't want anything happening after the game." Ryan Day was very clear
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. He
And,
did say
and
that.
in truth, if you're Michigan and you go win there next year, probably just don't plant the flag this time, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe just don't do it. Just win
Take a
respectfully
lap
at
around
that
the
point.
field or something.
They didn't do it this year. At least have some sort of respect. I don't know, but that's just outside looking in here. So, and looking ahead to the playoff and all that good stuff, like I said, I think Ohio State is your team to beat here. I like Indiana. I like what Georgia and Oregon and Texas Tech can bring to the table.
It's a
I
top
think
five
Texas
right
Tech is
there.
a little underrated right now, and I think they're a team that could shock some people if they get the right matchups. But ultimately, like I said, I just don't know if I see anybody beating Ohio State. I'm really excited to watch the Big Ten championship. Ohio State, Indiana should be a fantastic game, and that's
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
no shot to Indiana to say they're not a great football team because they are. I just don't know. I don't know if they got the horses for Ohio State. I don't know. I'm excited. That's why I'm excited to watch it because I could be wrong there, but I don't know if they
Mhm.
have them. So, um, we'll finish off the pod here with the banger of the week. Jody, do you have one? Do you have something that you want to tell the people about?
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard of the show or not. It's on Peacock. It's called All Her Fault.
I've
It's
heard of it. Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
yeah, so I watched that all the past couple days. The first episode's crazy. A lot of oh, what's going on here? What's going on? Bunch of I would say overall it's like a thriller. Long story short for that,
Okay. Yeah.
the theme. But first episode, you're sitting there just shocked, what the hell's going on? The second, third, and fourth, it kind of dies down. They do some character building, bunch of
Uh-huh.
backtracks. How did we get to this point? But then the rest of it, crazy. It just gets crazier and crazier by the minute. It's I don't even know how to describe it. Basically, say you go to the bar and you order a drink, and then they're like, oh, you met this random guy who did something to you here, but this guy did something over here, which leads to another guy coming in and backstabbing you. Crazy, bunch of crazy
Okay.
stuff like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And
Very
so,
complex web of interactions and
yep,
social
yep,
relationships and intersocial.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And so then it just blows your mind out the water with the ending. It's all right, this is wild, but it was a good watch. Like I said, gets through the
Okay.
second, third, and fourth, and you'll love it.
Okay. Well, that might be next on the list. Just reporting back, Jill and I have almost watched all of Stranger Things now, and we're almost
Caught
caught
up.
up to season 5. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're on the precipice of season 5, and then we would watch the 4 new episodes that just got released this last week. We're
Mhm.
almost there. We're really close. It keeps Jill is loving it. I had already seen them, but I kind of forgot.
Yeah.
Been so long, and just rewatching, it's like, man, it is just as good as I thought I remember it being. So, enjoying that. But my banger of the week this week is actually not a show or a movie
You got a
or
song?
a song.
Oh,
Um, Truthfully, I've got a snack recommendation for people.
whoa.
All right, so you know, holiday season, I generally get in kind of that mood for some sweets. That's just what seems to happen.
Yeah.
So Jill and I went to the store. We're talking about some things like, wow, well, let's make some cookies, right? You get blah blah blah. And you get the pre-made stuff that you can just throw on the cookie sheet and throw
Yeah,
it in the
yeah.
oven. So I think it's Pillsbury's the brand. They make this cookie. It's called the Monster Cookie, right? It's like peanut butter dough with oats and M&Ms and chocolate chips and I don't know, something else,
Oh,
whatever.
they got a ton of probably pretzels. I feel like that's a
Maybe
staple for that.
Unbelievable. I was kind of like, it's something different. Let's try. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Jody. Fantastic cookie. One of the better, like, hey, just take and bake cookies I've ever had.
Yeah. I thought, honestly, I thought you were talking about the little sugar cookies are really tiny. There's normally like something
do love
on there.
those. Do love those. Those are good. Those are good too. But this is like, I'm telling you, fantastic cookie. That Pillsbury knocked it out of the park with this one. Just hey, your local Walmart, whatever, you see the Monster Cookie. I'm just telling you, you won't regret it if you try it. All right. Last night I ate like three or four of those bad boys while we were watching Stranger Things. So there you go. I have 2 of my bangers of the week coming together. So, happy holidays to everybody. We're getting to that holiday season. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Hope everybody has a great holiday season here in December and into January. We will likely be back next week again, talking, recapping week 14, talking week 15, and possibly getting ourselves probably recap the final CFP and look at some of the matchups there in college football. But until then,
I do have a quick question before we do that. Honestly,
we lied. We lied.
Do you have Spotify or Apple for your music?
I'm an Apple guy.
Did you do your replay
or iPhone? No.
Okay, we'll save that for the next one then.
Or we'll save it. Yeah, we'll save it. Well, let's like right at the end of the month, like right at the end of the year, we'll hit that. Don't let me forget.
All right.
All right.
But till then,
now for real. Until next time,
Ray Ray's gonna take us out.